Hi. Before I share with you some what I do knows, I want to actually introduce myself a little bit more so you can get to know a background story. I work hard during the school week, at least I'm trying to, but mentally I'm a runner. More precisely, I'm a distance runner. I'm doing 1500 meter steeple chase. So in the future, probably 3K steeple chase. You can just imagine now, when I'm running on the track, each one of those jumps, there are 15 of them, including 3 water jumps, is harder than the one before. You should know that there is much more than strength, speed, or endurance to make a great runner. And unless you are willing to give your all the shit outside in practice and get your psyche stronger than ever, there always will be a possibility for you to fail. I want to practice every day, each week. It's like a second school, someone told me. And yeah, it is, but sometimes it can be even harder. I must be honest with you, I questioned myself so many times. Why am I motivated to practice every day? Why do I want to torture myself sometimes, and why do I like it? Why do I want to do it, and why when I don't, I still do? They say if you don't like the process, you won't achieve anything. This means that I admire the pain during cross-country. I love the ease of my breath during easy runs. I worship running over hills and valleys, and lastly, I look up to every tempo run. No, it isn't like that. After some time, science came to the rescue, and I started thinking about my head, more precisely my brain, and what was happening inside. All those chemical reactions and biological processes that led to further actions must be responsible somehow for my motivation. Let me start. Your brain is running on so many things. The first one are necessities, from food, health, and family to love, confidence, and social belonging. The other one are rewards. But how does our brain completely value a reward and how it's translated into action? That is actually the most interesting part. Psychologically speaking, there are 2 types of motivation, internal and external. Internal motivation is the type that comes from you, from your insights. It's your motivation to accomplish your goal. For example, getting into a dream college or pursuing a master's degree in molecular biology. It's all about personal satisfaction and desire. The other one is external motivation. It comes from something outside of you and it includes rewards, for example, being paid to do the job. Most people find external motivation less beneficial for them, but today from you will hear that in your brain, this is all about the reward. Today I will be talking about the reward system, so the one and only mesocortical limbic circuit. The mesocortical limbic circuit is like a group of neural structures responsible for wanting, desire, or craving for reward and motivation. Also associated with learning and positive emotions, particularly ones involving pleasure, joy, or euphoria. The reward is attractive and motivational proper use, stimulus that induces appetitive behavior, also known as approach behavior. When exposed to rewarding stimulus, the brain responds by increasing the release of a neurotransmitter called dopamine. All of the structures associated with the reward system are found along major dopamine pathways in the brain. The reward system mainly affects regions of the brain such as ventral tegmental area, so VTA, the hippocampus, the amygdala, and the prefrontal cortex, PFC. However, essential roles are also played by the anterior cingulate cortex, ACC, nucleus accumbens, and Rothman nuclei. For clear understanding, I want to introduce you all to all of the structures associated with the reward system. Ventral tegmental area. She cannot resist the presence of any object of delight. She's responsible for dopamine production and is easily triggered by all of this dopamine to release dopamine to her colleagues. She has 2 possibilities. The first one is the mesocortical pathway, which I will explain to you later, and the other one is mesolimbic pathway. So, the prefrontal cortex, that is the boss. This is a huge part of the frontal lobe, which plays a key role in everything. From speech and language production, that's where the Broca's area is, motor skills, forming members of personality. Also, it is responsible for self-management and decision-making. The frontal lobe are considered responsible for flexible and adaptive behavior and for highly developed social skills in humans. What is more, the frontal lobe contains most of the dopamine neurons in the cerebral cortex, and exactly those dopaminergic pathways are associated with reward, attention, short-term memory tests, planning, and motivation. Another participating cortex, so anterior cingulate cortex, ACC, boss's right hand, monitors the environment as well as one's own behavior and others. It This regency allows when the behavior needs to be modified. Mobility regions in the prefrontal cortex involved in the self-regulation and decision-making. The hippocampus, seekers from Greek, lays down detailed memories and of image and triggers the retrieval of those memories with presented to a relevant cue. It ultimately underpins the restatement of reward-seeking behaviors via those cues and contextual triggers. Amygdala. Today you could call her A. Plays an important role in controlling motivational behaviors such as reward-related motivation. She is associated with various emotional behaviors such as fear conditioning, emotional memory formation, or social recognition. She rapidly assesses incoming information from the environment and activates their approach or avoidance behaviors. The amygdala is important in creating powerful emotional memories and is likely underpins the creation of strong cue-associated memories. When we are stressed, the amygdala directs incoming information to the prefrontal cortex, and later PFC's role is to turn that information into long-term memory or processing. That allows us to either respond or ignore it. Nucleus accumbens evaluates the women that produce wanting or liking responses. This structure also plays an important role in learning from feedback and in reward-based decision-making. NAC has its influence on BTA and the PFC. This employs the reinforcing properties of slowing and short-term aspects of reward. The NAC score is involved in the development of reward-seeking behaviors and its expression, also special learning, conditional response, and my personal favorite, impulsive choice, long-term elements of reward. Last but not least, rapid nuclei, which are serotonin distributors. It produces the neurotransmitter and delivers it to a wide network of circuits across the brain. Earlier, I was talking to you about pathways. The most important dopamine pathway in the brain is the mesolimbic dopamine pathway. This circuit is a key detector of rewarding stimulus. Under normal conditions, it controls an individual response to natural rewards such as food, sex, or social interactions, and is therefore an important determinant of motivation. Simply talking, the activation of the pathway tells the individual to repeat what it just did to receive that reward. Also, it tells our memory centers to pay attention to that rewarding experience so it can be repeated in the future. Another major dopamine pathway, so the mesocortical pathway, travels from the VTA to the cerebral cortex and is also considered a part of the reward system. Those dopamine pathways are a key factor in one thing. Dopamine modulates neural activity when the rewarding event has occurred. Increases in dopamine leads individuals to learn from new experiences in anticipation of a positive outcome. Serotonin pathways are also essential when it comes to liking. Serotonin contributes with other neurochemicals to convey euphoria. It has a major influence on emotional states, sleep cycles, eating, and other rewarding behaviors. As I did mention earlier, the regions of the brain have their language, that is the dopamine usage. Dopamine as a neurotransmitter carries the signal from one neuron to another and a specific route in the brain to energize thoughts. For example, dopamine-producing neurons in the ventral tegmental area communicate with those in the region called the nucleus accumbens to process rewards and to motivate behavior. Neurons that release dopamine are activated when we expect to receive a reward. Dopamine also is responsible for reward-related memories. It strengthens synapses in the hippocampus and creates emotional associations with reward in areas of the brain that process emotions, so amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. But you can ask me now, how it really works? Simple. Experiences trigger neurons in certain regions of the brain, including the prefrontal cortex, the anterior cingulate cortex, and the hippocampus, to send chemicals such as dopamine and serotonin to other neurons in different regions. Repeated experience create different pathways, like mesolimbic dopamine pathway, mesocortical pathway, and other serotonin pathways. And later in the hippocampus, those experiences are combined with memories, thoughts, and behaviors. Those connected pathways create powerful association between what we do and the memories how that made us feel physically and emotionally. The memories are processed by the amygdala, and this drives our behavior, which is managed by the prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate cortex. We are motivated to repeat those experiences that made us feel good and to avoid those that made us feel bad. Everything because of the closing windows. Finally, I wanted to leave you all with not only curiosity and desire to receive great to be more by yourself, but also possible solutions. Solutions to increase your dopamine level, and as you already should know, motivation level during daily duties. You should remember by now, when the reward is bigger, greater, and more desirable, you will be more motivated. So give yourself rewards, and you will thank yourself and also me for that later. Build healthy and helpful habits. Boost your diet with probiotics and natural glucose. Take a 20-minute walk between assignments or just take a break. Set achievable goals. That, in my opinion, is the most important one. And divide them into those longer, short term. This way you won't be as overwhelmed and you will be more motivated to continue pursuing. Recognize your progress, because this is all about the process. And record accomplishments, even those small ones. Write down your goals and focus on them. This way you will recognize how good you will feel with the end product. Lastly, train your brain to be motivated. Say, I am motivated instead of I feel motivated, because this way it becomes a part of your identity. Oh, and remember